It's so tiny in here.
Is that casual enough? Is that casual? Hi. Today's nugget is a work by the late, great contemporary writer Eddrick Meholm, considered by many to be one of the most thought-provoking and dangerous voices in late 20th century poetry. Welcome to the Nook. It's Poetry Corner. Now, the great laureate Eddrick Meholm obviously needs no introduction. I was actually lucky enough to meet Eddrick back in the very late 1990s, which was during that period where he was living behind the lockers that he'd edged slightly away from the walls at Weston-super-Mare Leisure Centre. Now, his creative output at that time was sporadic, inconsistent, and in fact only a handful of works that are definitely from that time are known to have survived. Now, on the day that I met Eddrick, he was involved in a fairly desperate battle with some juvenile seagulls, caring far more for human food than for human verse, and somewhat emboldened by the careless eating habits of the recent summer tourists. The seagulls were attempting to violently separate Eddrick from a poem that he'd just written, a short philosophical piece that he'd written in curry sauce on the back of a polystyrene chip tray. I rushed over, I shooed away the pigeons, and I escorted Eddrick to the relative safety of a nearby games arcade. Hi! If you're new around here and you're enjoying this video, then please leave us a like. We've got all sorts going on here at Nuggets from the Nook, so hit subscribe and you'll never miss a thing. Back to the feature! So, safely inside the games arcade and away from the pigeons, I told Eddrick that I was a huge admirer of his work. I asked whether there was any chance I could buy his latest poem. I actually offered him £1,000 right there. Eddrick told me that now that he lived for free behind the lockers, he didn't need money, but he said that he would trade me the poem for 3 goes on the grabby claw machine and one of those blue slushy drinks. Obviously I accepted, and though sadly, but rather predictably, the claw machine yielded no prizes for Eddrick, his loss, and indeed the goal's loss, was the poetry world's gain. Now, this was all decades ago, and during that time the curry sauce poem, like the intervening years, have sort of flaked away to a kind of yellow, fudgy dust. But wisely, as it turned out, I took the precaution of making a copy of the poem a couple of years ago, and channeling my inner Eddrick, I wrote it out in Marmite on the back of my bedroom door, to preserve it so that it can be enjoyed for generations to come. I have, of course, also committed the poem to memory. And so now, for the first time ever, I give you Guilt by Eddrick Meholm. I suppose I should do something with the lighting. Is that appropriate? Is that any good? It's not a scary poem. Guilt by Eddrick Meholm. I saw you outside the magistrate's court, walking round and round in the spitting rain. I saw you outside the magistrate's court, in your untucked shirt and your shining polyester trousers. I saw you outside the magistrate's court, sucking feverishly on a thin cigarette. And then I saw you again, about half an hour later, when I walked past, still outside the magistrate's court, talking into your mobile phone. And I thought you looked guilty as sin, to be honest. But maybe that's only because your eyes were too close together. On reflection, I expect you worked there, inside the magistrate court, in some sort of administrative role. Still, I'd consider getting those eyes moved farther apart, if I were you.
What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm preserving.
But
this.
why?
Because
What is that you're putting on the door? What are you writing with?
Marmite.
Why?
Eddrick.
Why? Why? Stop. Stop it. I can't.
Sorry.